There are many animal species that dwell within this world, too many in fact. People may have seen them all, or they may have not. Actually, every year new species would occasionally be found, located in areas that haven't been explored. While the presence of never-before-seen animals is still likely, some of those known species are still pretty rare. These following animals indeed exist and are not exactly species, but they are deemed to be incredibly elusive, with few of them were even previously thought to be extinct. Giant armadillo. You think you'd notice something the size of a large pig, covered in scales with 8-inch front claws like scimitar blades. But the giant armadillo does such a good job of hiding, scientists have had to install secret cameras to find out more about it. Very few people have seen a giant armadillo in the wild, says Arno Desbies, who runs the Giant Armadillo Project in Brazil. In our field site, the owner of the ranch, who was born and raised here, had never seen a giant armadillo before we started the project. Weighing up to 110 pounds and reaching 5 feet in length, it is the largest species of armadillo. At nearly twice the size of other species, its girth makes it unable to roll into the family's distinctive ball shape for defense. Instead, it digs underground burrows with its impressive front claws. It only ventures outside under cover of darkness. The giant armadillo is considered a vulnerable species due to habitat loss and hunting, but local people are said to regard sightings of them as bad omens. The rare camera trap photographs may help to highlight its situation. Giant squid. Possibly the most infamous of giant animals lurks beneath the waves. The giant squid earns its name from a body size of up to 16.5 feet, and a pair of elongated tentacles that can bring it to an overall length of 42.5 feet. It is a predator, known for its huge flesh-ripping beak and eyes the size of footballs. But as a denizen of the deep ocean, living as far down as 3,280 feet, it is a species that very few people have seen alive. Salty sea tales claim that monstrously large animals have destroyed ships, but documented encounters are rare. Most take place on the water's surface, when the squid is injured or dying. The first footage of a giant squid in its natural deep water environment was filmed in 2012. The project was organized by a team of international scientists, who launched a submersible vehicle off the coast of Japan. With a bit of bait and a lot of luck, an animal appeared in front of their cameras. Giant otter. While it lacks elephants, tropical South America is still a land of giant animals. The continent is home to the biggest members of the armadillo and anteater families, as well as the capybara, the world's largest rodent. In the rivers east of the Andes lives the giant otter. Twice the size of the next biggest member of its family, the giant otter can reach 6.5 feet in length. It lives in open habitats in large family groups, and is consequently quite easy to spot. While giant otters can deal with natural predators such as caiman and jaguars, they have fallen victim to man. They are described as sociable and curious, and this gregarious character has made them a target for hunters. The thick pelt was once highly sought after, with devastating consequences. The trade was banned in 1975, but now the remaining animals are threatened by increasing human settlement in their Amazonian habitat. Conflict arises with fishermen, and mismanaged tourism is also having an impact, according to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. Populations in the protected Pantanal wetland are thought to have recovered, but it remains to be seen how the otters will cope with the rising human population. Giant rat. In 2017, a giant rat fell from a tree, straight into the hands of a mammologist who knew he'd found something new. Solomon Islands locals had long spoke of the coconut-eating, 2-pound Vangunu giant rat, but no scientist had ever confirmed its existence. Then a park ranger caught one scurrying out of a tree that loggers had cut down. It's the first rat discovered in 80 years from Solomon's, and it's not like people haven't been trying, it was just so hard to find, Tyrone Lavery, the mammologist who first confirmed the species with DNA analysis, said in a press release. Scientists consider the giant rat to be critically endangered because of logging. The rat that Lavery found in the felled tree died soon after. It's getting to the stage for this rat that, if we hadn't discovered it now, it might never have gotten discovered, he said. The area where it was found is one of the only places left with forest that hasn't been logged. Giant Huntsman spider. If you measure spider size by leg span, the largest reaches 1 foot across, and goes by the worrying name, giant huntsman spider. Fortunately, it confines its predatory activities to insects. You're unlikely to see one scurrying across your carpet, unless you've set up home in a cave in Laos. Even there it would now be a rare sight. Heteropoda maxima made headlines among arachnophobes and phils alike, when it was discovered in 2001 by Dr. Peter Jigger of Johannes Gutenberg University in Mainz, Germany. Jigger says the resulting attention has been bad news for the spider, due to unregulated demand by the pet trade. He suggests that for every 100 spiders imported as pets, 1,000 more may have perished when removed from their homes. In 2009, my PhD student and I could observe the impact in easily accessible caves, where no adults could be found, says Jigger. He says the spiders survive for little more than a year outside of the controlled climate of their caves. Jigger says their short-lived nature may ultimately reduce demand. Giant oarfish. Looking very much like an enormous sea serpent, the giant oarfish is extremely flat and undulates through the water, like a wide silver ribbon. Its long pelvic fins look like oars and it has a distinctive red crest. But the most remarkable thing about the oarfish is its extreme length. Measured at up to 56 feet, it is the world's longest bony fish. Despite its massive size, the giant oarfish remains quite mysterious. It lives in the deep ocean alongside other giant species. It's not clear why deep-dwelling species are often so big. Low temperatures, high pressure, a lack of currents or a scarcity of food have all been put forward as explanations. Because of its deep-dwelling habits, the giant oarfish is a rare sight. In recent years, unmanned submersibles have managed to film it in its natural environment, but very few people have seen a healthy one in the flesh. Giant oarfish only appear at the surface when dead or injured. Where one washes into shore, it is usually photographed being held aloft by large groups of people, to show its relative size. In June 2015, Santa Catalina Island off the coast of California hosted its third giant oarfish in as many years, when a 17-foot specimen washed ashore. Goliath Frog. The world's largest frog can weigh as much as a newborn baby, tipping the scales at 7 pounds. The Goliath frog might be huge, but like many of its amphibian cousins it does its best to conceal itself. Mottled green camouflage helps it to hide among the moss-covered rocks. It lives in or near fast-flowing rivers in the coastal rainforests of West Africa. You might think it would have an impressive croak to match its bulk, but you'd be wrong. Unlike most other frogs, the Goliath frog does not possess a vocal sac, so it whistles to attract mates instead. Despite its stealthy adaptations, the Goliath frog is an endangered species. Its population has reportedly declined by 50% in the last 3 generations. The frogs are widely hunted as a delicacy, and for the international pet trade, notably for frog jumping competitions in the US. While some frogs have been exported for captive breeding programs, these have so far proven unsuccessful. Instead, conservationists are concentrating on local communities, in a bid to curb unsustainable hunting. Chan's Megastick. While most insects can fit in the palm of your hand, there are a few giants out there. The longest in the world is a stick insect that lives in Borneo. It was named after its discoverer as Chan's Megastick in 2008. The largest known example is over 22-inch long with legs outstretched, and is kept at the Natural History Museum in London, UK. Very little is known about the insect because in the wild it is exceptionally difficult to see. Males are brown and females mottled green, and both are long and spindly, so they are perfectly camouflaged in their rainforest home. To further mimic the plants around them, the eggs of the insect resemble seeds and have wing-like extensions, which are thought to help them to disperse on the wind. Experts believe Chan's Megastick lives in the forest canopy, making it even more challenging to find. Only a handful of specimens are currently known to science. Queen Alexandra's birdwing. In Papua New Guinea, there is a butterfly so large it earns comparison with a bird. The Queen Alexandra's birdwing lives in a small area of rainforest near the north coast. Males are spectacular, with blue-green iridescent streaks on velvet black wings and a bright yellow abdomen, while the females are slightly more reserved with cream accents. However, females are a third larger than males, with a record-breaking wingspan of up to 1 foot. Following its initial discovery in 1906, the insect was highly prized by collectors and as a result it was severely over-harvested. It flies fast through the rainforest canopy and proved difficult to capture, so hunters used shotguns loaded with salt to bring it down. A law was introduced in 1966 to protect the butterfly, but continued illegal collection and habitat destruction for logging and palm oil has dramatically decreased its population. Few outside of Oro province have seen the endangered Queen Alexandra's birdwing in flight, and even their sightings are dwindling. Local tribes and conservationists are now fighting for its future. Giant Isopod. Imagine a woodlouse that can grow longer than a cat, 2.5 feet long and weigh 3.75 pounds. Well, it exists and it's called the giant isopod. It is a crustacean, distantly related to shrimp and crabs. It lives far beneath the waves where growing to relatively giant proportions is not uncommon. This oversized roly-poly shares its terrestrial cousin's rigid exoskeleton, and ability to roll into a ball for defense. It has 7 pairs of legs, 2 sets of sensitive antennae and large compound eyes. It is a pale lilac color. In cold waters off the US coast it inhabits the seabed, feasting on the corpses of whales, fish and squid. Food is a rare resource when you live as far down as 6,560 feet below sea level, so when this scavenger finds a meal it attacks. Its targets can include fishermen's trawl nets, and most encounters with the creature occur when it is dragged to the surface as bycatch. In 2010, a huge specimen was found latched onto a remotely operated vehicle being used in sea surveys. Such wild encounters with the animal are rare, but several are held in aquarium collections around the world, and they are particular favorites in Japan. Blakiston's fish owl. There is some debate over which owl gets to lift the title of world's largest, but the Blakiston's fish owl is a heavyweight contender. It reaches up to 10 pounds in weight with a wingspan nearing 6.5 feet. It was discovered by naturalist Thomas Blakiston in 1883. As its name suggests, the massive owl feeds primarily on fish. Living in riverside forest in Siberia, northeast China, North Korea, and northern Japan, it cuts a bulky figure among the treetops. But this is now a rare sight. Under increasing pressure from logging, overfishing and persecution by hunters, Blakiston's fish owl is now officially considered an endangered species. In Hokkaido, Japan, the owl was traditionally considered a spirit that protected the villages of the indigenous Ainu people. Now, roles are reversed and conservationists watch over the owls with the help of nest box cameras. Thanks to these huge artificial homes, the decline of owls has been halted. But without the mature forests they depend on, their future is unclear. Kakapo. They are the only flightless parrots in the world and are considerable larger than its airborne cousin. And unlike most other parrots, they are nocturnal, earning them another name known as owl parrot. The only place where people most likely spot this bird is New Zealand. Kakapo is also known to be one of the longest living birds. While they can't fly, they have developed exceptional leg strength, making them proficient at climbing and hiking. Their flesh is considered as a delicacy while their feathers may be used as clothing. As a result, this bird is critically endangered, and as of June 2016, the number of population living in the wild was reported to be 154. Due to their elusiveness, a lot of people have no idea about their existence, and when they stumble upon them, stories and myths may arise. For example, Olm has been reported to be a classic Chinese dragon. However, there are some who view these animals as a source of profit, resulting in unceasing hunts for them. This is the primary reason on why they are that rare in the first place. We are living in a world with an abundance of vibrant species, but if the hunts and irresponsible destruction of the ecosystem keeps up, these unique creatures might be no more. Renewed interest in further exploration and taxonomy could allow us to fully answer this most basic question: what lives on Earth? Until then, we will continue to marvel at how much we still don't know.